Hello and welcome. My name is Emily Loughlin, and I will be presenting Everesting, cycling or running the elevation of the tallest mountain on Earth. Some of you may be wondering, what is Everesting? Everesting involves cycling or running the elevation equivalent to Mount Everest, which is 8,848 meters or 29,032 feet. The vertical distance must be completed in one attempt, and athletes have the freedom to select their course, gradient, and number of ascents. This feat of endurance gained popularity in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and worldwide race cancellations. Since May of 2020, many of the previous cycling and running records have been broken. This presentation will focus on the running category of Everesting. The current Everesting world record holders for the men and women's running category are Mark Scholes with a time of 11 hours and 1 minute and Ruth Usitalo with a time of 13 hours and 11 minutes. Everesting has steadily been growing in popularity within the past year, and the largest number of completed attempts occurred in 2020. Interestingly, both men and women's records were set on short, steep slopes, with the record holders completing over 120 repetitions on staircases. This raises the question, is stair climbing the most optimal method for gaining vertical elevation? The purpose of this study is to determine the optimal slope for an Everesting attempt. This investigation can help improve Everesting performance and provide new scientific insights into the physics and physiology of graded running. To determine optimal slope of an Everesting attempt, we simulated running scenarios across slopes and compared these with literature data on stair and ladder climbing. To create these simulations, we first collected primary research on uphill running, stair climbing, and ladder climbing, and obtained data on the slope, velocity, and metabolic cost of transport from each study. Next, we calculated the metabolic cost of transport across slopes from the provided Manetti, Huckamer, and Giovanelli equations. Then, we determined the vertical velocity for each study at an assumed fixed power output of 15 watts per kilogram. Finally, we simulated descent times across slopes based on the calculated metabolic cost of transport, assumed fixed power output, and the height of Mount Everest. For the stair and ladder data points, the vertical velocity was typically given, and we determined metabolic cost of transport from VO2, VCO2, and respiratory exchange ratio data. As seen in the beginning of the figure, very shallow slopes prolong the time of an Everesting attempt, and as slope increases, ascent times decrease until slopes of approximately 40%. The simulated ascent times for Manetti data significantly increase with steeper slopes, and the Huckamer simulated ascent times continuously decrease with steeper slopes. These simulations do not apply well to steep slopes because the running and walking trials were performed on shallower slopes, and an equation for metabolic cost was extracted from a fitted curve of these data points. In contrast, the Giovanelli running trials were specifically tested on steep slopes at a fixed vertical velocity. For our simulation, the Giovanelli equation produced a minimum time of 7 hours and 59 minutes at a slope of 47%. For stair climbing and ladder climbing, the TET and Aziz data produced the shortest Everesting time of 10 hours and 23 minutes at an assumed slope of 30 degrees. For ladder climbing, ascent time increases with greater slopes, with the Cayman study producing an ascent time of 9 hours and 9 minutes at 60 degrees, and the Baron data producing ascent times of 10 hours and 23 minutes at 75 degrees and 11 hours and 41 minutes at 90 degrees. Despite current records, the data suggests that running is faster than stair and ladder climbing, and ladder climbing may be faster than stair climbing under certain conditions. These results may be due to the level of fitness of the participants involved with each study. The running articles were determined based on data from competitive runners, while the stair and ladder studies were based on low to moderately active men and women. For stair and ladder climbing, the angle of the ladder contributes to whether or not ladder climbing is faster than stair climbing. Ascent time decreases with shallower sloped ladders, and this may be due to inefficient movement of bringing the foot backward and around the ladder rungs. Further investigation of the length of a segment and muscle damage attributed to downhill running can help further determine the optimal ascent for running an Everesting attempt. If you have any questions or are interested in learning more, feel free to contact Dr. Wouter Hoekemer or myself via email. Once again, my name is Emily Laughlin, and this was Everesting, cycling or running the elevation of the tallest mountain on Earth. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your time.